How's it going, you guys? NewAge here with our next week's episode of our top 10 anything goes Pokemon. So, before I get into that, see, I'm already messing up. Wanted to make an announcement for last week's top 10. Last week's top 10 was my top 10 traded Pokemon, but there was an issue with that, with copyright and all that. Whatever. I left the video up. It can't be viewed by you guys though, which I didn't know because I was still able to watch it on my channel. So I don't know if I'll delete it or what. But my plan, what to do is post basically an MP3 of the, if I can. I don't know how I'll do that, but that's what I'm gonna try and do. Post an MP3 of the audio for that video, either in the description of this one or put it in the description of that video. And if I do that, I'll put a link down below for that top 10 video so you guys can go at least listen to that and listen to what I said if you guys are interested at all about what I had for my top 10 and all that good stuff. So that being said, let's go ahead and jump into this week's top 10. Like how we normally do, there's going to be the more simple one. So this week we got my top 10 personal favorite fire-type Pokemon. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and jump right on in here. My number 10 fire-type Pokemon is going to be Chandelure. Now, this one, it's really cool. Just when they got to 5th gen, they got some pretty cool ideas for some Pokemon. I gotta admit, I like a lot of the 5th gen Pokemon, and Chandelure is one of my favorites. It's just a really awesome idea because it's like, you know, a possessed chandelier, and from that you could just say, okay, well, it's possessed, it's a ghost. But they went ahead and took it a step further where it's like, well, chandelier could be something that's like produces light through fire, so we're gonna make it a fire ghost type, which is a really awesome deviation from the normal fire-type Pokemon, because a lot of fire-type Pokemon are either just regular fire or like flying fire, normal fire. The types don't get too crazy, I don't think, with fire-type Pokemon. As far as I know anyways. I could be completely wrong. But, sorry about the dog. But, I think that's cool that they did that for Chandelure with the ghost and fire typing, and I like that they gave it purple fire instead of the usual red fire just because it's a ghost. They made it more creepy and all that good stuff. And it's just always been a Pokemon that I've thought was strong, powerful, all that good stuff, and really unique with its typing. So that's why Chandelure is gonna go ahead and be my number 10 Pokemon. So moving on now to number 9. So for number 9, we are going to have Pyroar. Now, Pyroar is one of the newer Pokemon, obviously, and as far as X and Y goes, I really like the ideas that they came up with for fire-type Pokemon in X and Y. Now, fire as like canine or dog or whatever has always been kind of like a reoccurring thing throughout Pokemon, just how, you know, there's always like the bird Pokemon that they remake a new generation of every single time they make new generations. This isn't as reoccurring as that, but they do have quite a few, like Arcanine and Ninetales and all that. So, they all look really good, and Pyroar is one of those Pokemon. One of the things that I really like about it is that they get the rivalry ability, which, you know, rivalry isn't the best ability, but I think it's cool because there's a male and a female version of them, and there are different designs for male and female. So, you know, they throw the rivalry on there and say it's like a girl one versus a male one and all that stuff. It's a really cool idea. And I like the different fur patterns of fire, like how the male one is kind of like an exploding, like really crazy fire, whereas the female one is more of just like a calm, kind of regular fire. And also, I mean, this one is mostly just based off design. I really like how its fur flows like actual fire. It's really cool to me. So Pyroar, that's gonna be my number 9. It just has a really cool design, and I've really liked it for that, and Pokemon with gender differences have always been really cool too. So that's gonna be my number 9. Moving on now to number 8. So for number 8, we have got Magmortar. Now, I've always been a fan of Magmar, ever since I saw it in the anime, with Blaine using it against Ash when Ash was getting his 7th badge. They just made it seem like the most intense fire Pokemon around, like it came out of the lava, like it was just chilling there, like that's what it does normally. And they just made it seem so powerful, like no other fire Pokemon was as hot as this fire Pokemon. And then they go and evolve it later on. Now, see, the thing is, it does look a little derpy, and that part does kind of suck, but at the same time, you know it's got to be powerful. Just because of the impression that Magmar left with what kind of Pokemon it is, a Pokemon that evolves from Magmar, getting even stronger, just seems, it's so crazy. And one of the things that I really love personally about Magmortar are the way how it has like cannons for its hands. That's how like it was portrayed in Diamond and Pearl, and it's just like cannons for hands. It's kind of like the Blastoise of fire Pokemon, where instead of shooting water out of its arms that are like cannons, it just straight up is flamethrowing right out of its hands. And I think that's insanely cool. So Magmortar gonna be my number 8. Moving on now to number 7. Now for number 7, we are going to have Talonflame. And like I said, X and Y, they did a lot of pretty cool design Pokemon, and fire type Pokemon, they had some really cool ones in X and Y as well. But the thing I love about this one, the reason why this is my number 7, is it's not just a new fire Pokemon, it's also the new bird Pokemon. And every single generation they make a new bird Pokemon, and they're always the same type, they're always normal flying. So this one, when it became fire flying, just made it itself stand out alone more than any of the other bird Pokemon. And then on top of that, they went ahead and gave it Gale Wings to introduce it to its newest generation of bird Pokemon. So not only does it get, I don't know if I want to say a better typing, but a varied typing from what the normal bird Pokemon have, but it also gets one of the best flying abilities in the entire game. Not to mention, its design is really cool. It's one of the most solid ideas I think that Pokemon has had in a while. At least out of X and Y, I gotta say this is one of their better ideas, and it's really cool. And I just love this thing to death. So Talonflame, that's gonna go ahead and be my number 7. So we're moving down now to number 6. And now we're taking it all the way back to Gen 1 with number 6, who's gonna be Flareon. Now, Flareon is a really cool fire type because it's just a plain fire type, and when it comes to fire types, they're just with most types in general, other than I guess normal types, there don't seem to be a lot of plain types. Like, as generations have been made, dual type Pokemon has been more of a thing. It seems more competitive. Probably that's the only reason. So they make stuff like that, and then they try and make things that haven't been made together, like Altaria being a dragon and fairy type Pokemon. You know, that's a crazy combination, and now that they have the chance to try it, they're going ahead and doing it. So to have plain typed Pokemon is really cool. And even with the starters, like I said, they end up evolving into dual type Pokemon. So for Flareon to be a plain fire type Pokemon, that's why it's down here in number 6. And it's also a really cool and simple design. Like, it literally just looks like someone got an Eevee and set it on fire. It's just all around really solid, simple, easy to be okay, good fire type Pokemon. So that's why Flareon is gonna be my number 6. Moving on now to number 5. So for number 5, we're going to have Emboar. Now, I never really liked Emboar, even in Black and White and Black and White 2. I didn't choose Samurott, or I didn't choose Samurott. I didn't choose Emboar. I chose Samurott. And for those of you guys who know by now, I'm a water starter kind of guy. Like, fire was my thing when I was a kid, just like everyone else. But I eventually learned to like water type Pokemon more than I actually like fire type Pokemon, especially for starters. But recently, from me playing through Pure White, I've just fallen in love with this thing. I mean, just the beefiness of it all. That's all it is. It's so big, so powerful, and one of the things I love about it a lot in X and Y, this is actually one of the 3D sprites that does it a lot of justice, that makes it look even bigger and more terrifying. And it's just it just looks so cool. And then I love the designs with the swirls around its body. And this is just a really intricately designed Pokemon, especially for a starter, because they're normally fairly simple. So, just all the designs and everything, breaking it apart from other starter type Pokemon, it just keeps adding to all the things that I already like about this Pokemon, all the things that just make it super cool. So that's why Emboar is gonna be my number 5. Moving on now to number 4. Now for number 4, we're gonna have the none other than Charizard. That's what I wanted to say. Now, I don't care who you are, if you're doing a top 10 fire type Pokemon, Charizard has got to be on there somewhere for one reason or another. Charizard was just everyone's favorite Pokemon at some point, especially if you were playing the games since they first came out, playing Red and Blue version. There were only 150 Pokemon to like. Charizard had to be one of the Pokemon you liked. I mean, basically all Nintendo did was get a dragon and then make it into a Pokemon that isn't a dragon. I mean, it breathes fire, it has big wings and giant claws to go with that. But not only does it represent fire type Pokemon as kind of like an icon or a mascot as fire type for being the first fire type starter, but now that its megas have come along, it completely dominates being one of the best fire types. Basically, that's all there is to it. If you want to go with a real dragon with real firepower, you just go with Charizard X. And if you want to go with just showing sheer force of sun and real like fire breathing intense hot, you go with Charizard Y. So I feel like it was great that they made megas for Charizard, because there have been so many fire type starters now coming around. They just had to remind people basically why Charizard is who he is. So that's why Charizard's gonna be my number 4. Moving down to number 3. Now, like I said, nothing goes better together than Canine and Fire. And who better to show that off than Arcanine? Arcanine is gonna be my number 3, the legendary Arcanine. Now, if I was the kind of guy, and I'm sorry for those of you out there who care, but if I was the kind of guy who liked chumpy 3-foot tall dogs, I'd have Ninetales on my list right now, taking this spot instead of Arcanine. But no, I'm gonna go with the solid 6-foot tall, 340-pound beast. Sorry if I offended those people who like Ninetales, but Ninetales is not really where it's at, not really my deal. Arcanine is what it's all about. You got the tough, you got the speed, you got the fangs, you got the awesome fur and the stripe design, and Arcanine has just always been one of my favorite Pokemon. It's just, it's kind of like in a Charizard category too, where if you played the older games and you have the original 150, like, Arcanine was just one of those Pokemon that you had to like on there. And on top of all that, to make it even greater, I love this thing so much because of its shiny. A gold shiny Arcanine someday I will have. So that's why Arcanine is gonna be my number 3. And here we go now, moving to number 2. Now, I know that you guys know that I can't have a top 10 without there being some Steel-type Pokemon on here. So that's why my number 2 is gonna be Heatran. Now, Heatran is my number 2 just because it takes Steel and Steel's worst enemy, Fire, and combines them into an amazingly legendary Pokemon. I mean, Heatran is just nothing but pure magma being held together by some solid hot steel. And one of the things I love about it the most is it just looks like it's always ready to like take something on. Just that face of like, yeah, this is about to go down. Here we go. I'm ready to take you on. It's just something that I've always loved. And I mean, he's a Steel type, so Steel type are my favorite types. Can't help but love a Pokemon that's both Fire and Steel. That's just crazy diverse to me. And then the thing I love about it the most is he's one of the only Steel types that just looks Fire Pokemon right in the face and says, "Come on, give me some fire. I'd love to show you what I could do with fire right after you hit me with some fire." So, Heatran, you're gonna go ahead and be my number 2. Moving on now to my number 1 Fire type Pokemon. Now, if you want to talk about hot, it don't get much hotter than the sun, which is why Volcarona is going to be my number 1 Fire type Pokemon. Now, I couldn't think of it's literally called the Sun Pokemon in the Pokedex, and I couldn't think of a more fitting name for, in my opinion, the best Fire type Pokemon of all of them. It's a perfect combination of like elegant and deadly, which is exactly what you should think of when you think just normal fire in general, which is one of the reasons why I love Volcarona so much. And one of the things that I love about it the most is it didn't even need to be a bug type Pokemon. It could have just been a fire type, but they were like, no, we need to make this thing even stronger by giving it the strongest boosting move in the game, Quiver Dance. But it only makes sense to give it Quiver Dance if it's a bug type Pokemon. Okay, we'll make it a bug and a fire type Pokemon just so we can give it Quiver Dance. And not only does this thing Quiver Dance, but then it shows you why it's the Sun Pokemon with that fiery dance right after it's done Quiver Dancing. And I cannot begin to tell you guys how many times I have swept through an entire team with a Quiver Dance Volcarona, then showing them some fiery dance. And on top of all that, it's another Pokemon that's gold when it's shiny, and gold with a fire type Pokemon, that's just where it's at. It just shows that off better, more than anyone else. So that's why Volcarona is gonna be my number 1, and that is going to be my top 10 fire type Pokemon for you guys. So if you enjoyed this video, go ahead, leave a like. If you want to see more, you can subscribe to my channel NewAgeSteel, where I upload multiple videos every single day. And don't forget to leave your own top 10 fire types down below. I love to read about those. And you can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter to get first-hand information on when I upload videos to the channel. So until then, I'm NewAgeSteel, keep on watching, and I'll see you guys next time.